I could picture the penthouse perfectly. My mother collapsing onto the hardwood floor where the silk rug used to lie, wailing as though someone had died. My father, still in his wrinkled travel clothes, kicking the wall and shouting profanity that would have embarrassed a sailor, and Louise the princess hurling her phone against the marble kitchen island when the screen filled with declined payment notifications. Glass shattering. Silence following. The kind of silence that comes when people finally realize there's no one left to blame but themselves. Jeremy opened his laptop at the kitchen counter. I imagine his hands were shaking as he typed in his password. He logged into our joint account. Balance, $0. He tried the credit cards, declined. Account closed by primary holder. He tried the Apex Global corporate card, suspended. SEC investigation pending. They were trapped in a glass tower with no food, no driver, no money, and a mortgage payment due in 10 days that none of them could afford. That's when my phone began ringing again. This time it was sitting on the floor in the center of my new apartment, face up. I sat a few feet away, watching it carefully like it was something hazardous. The screen lit up, Jeremy. The phone vibrated across the cheap laminate floor, rattling softly as his name flashed again and again. I watched it glow. And I didn't move. My thumb twitched. It was pure reflex. For 4 years, every time that name appeared on my phone, I jumped. I answered. I fixed whatever problem he had created. If Jeremy called, it meant he needed something and my entire worth had been tied to my ability to provide it. But this time I sat on my hands. I let it ring. 1 ring, 2 rings, 3, voicemail. I exhaled slowly. That's when I realized something important. Silence isn't just the absence of sound. It's an action. It's a wall. Sometimes it's the loudest thing you can say to someone who expects your obedience. Once again, I didn't decline the call. Declining would have been a reaction. Instead, I simply let it exist unanswered until it stopped. A moment later, a notification appeared. New voicemail from Rachel Davenport, my mother. I placed the phone on the floor and played the message on speaker. Her voice filled the empty apartment. Claire. She sounded breathless, panicked, on the verge of tears. Claire, pick up the phone. What is wrong with you? We're at the penthouse and there's nothing here. There's no furniture. The cards aren't working. We can't even order food. Her voice cracked. This is your family, Claire. How can you be so cruel? There was a pause, a sniff. Then the tone changed. It always did. I know you're upset about the trip, she continued, her voice tightening, but you're blowing this completely out of proportion. Another pause. You've always been like this, ever since you were little. So sensitive, so dramatic. I closed my eyes. You need to forgive your sister, she said sharply. She was just trying to help you sign those papers because you were too busy. Her voice hardened. Call me back right now, young lady. The message ended. She was just trying to help. She was talking about identity theft, about forging my signature on legal documents, and somehow she had spun it into a favor. I deleted the voicemail, not out of anger, out of clarity. It was confirmation that I had made the right decision. They didn't see me as a person. To them, I was a malfunctioning appliance, something to kick until it started working again. My phone pinged again. An Instagram notification. Louise had posted a story. Of course she had. When in doubt, perform. The story was a black screen with white text. It's sad when people you love let jealousy turn them into monsters. Some people can't handle seeing others shine. Lies are being spread about my family today, but the truth always wins. God knows my heart. I almost laughed. God knows my heart. I tapped the comments. Normally, Louise deleted criticism within seconds, but today she was probably too busy screaming at Jeremy to moderate her feed. The responses were pouring in. One user wrote, "Jealousy? Honey, we saw the email. Your sister brought receipts." Another, "Is it true you forged her signature? That's federal prison time." A third comment was even shorter. "Pack your bags." 30 seconds later, the story vanished. Louise had deleted it. The court of public opinion had spoken. For once, the verdict wasn't in her favor. Then my father called. The 13th call in less than an hour. This time he left a voicemail. I hesitated before pressing play. His voice wasn't emotional. It was cold. "You think you're smart, girl," he growled. "You think you can just walk away from this family. You're nothing without us." The words hit like stones. "You're a cold, unlovable woman. That's why Jeremy needed a break from you. That's why we all needed a break." I stared at the wall. "You think you can live alone?" he continued. "Wait until you're sick. Wait until you're old. Who's going to be by your bedside then?" His voice hardened. "Not us." "You're going to die alone, Claire, and you'll deserve it." The message ended. The apartment felt suddenly colder. I stared at the empty walls. "You're going to die alone." That had always been their ultimate weapon, the leash they used to keep me close, the fear of abandonment. But as the silence settled, something unexpected happened. I smiled. It wasn't a happy smile, but it was honest. I spoke quietly into the empty room. "Dad, I've been alone since I was 10. I thought about my graduation, my first promotion, paying their mortgage, my marriage. I was alone through all of it." I looked around my tiny apartment. Being physically alone here wasn't a punishment. It was just the first time the outside world matched the truth I'd been living with for years. And honestly, it was a lot quieter this way. A sudden knock at the door made me jump. For a moment I froze. Had they found me? Had Jeremy tracked my phone? Then a familiar voice called through the door. "Open up, draft horse." "I brought fuel," I laughed. It was Ivy. I unlocked the door. She stood there holding 2 large pepperoni pizzas and a 6-pack of cheap beer. She looked at my empty apartment. Then she looked at me. She didn't hug me. She didn't say "I told you so." She just stepped inside. She didn't ask if I was okay. Ivy just walked in, sat down on the floor, opened a beer, and grabbed a slice of pizza. "So," she said between bites, "I hear the kingdom is burning." I sat down beside her. "It is," I said, "and they're blaming me for the matches." Ivy laughed and clinked her beer bottle against mine. "Listen to me, Claire," she said, suddenly serious. "They're screaming that the house is on fire, but you didn't start it." She took another bite of pizza. "You just finally took your own gas can out of the basement and walked away." I stared at her. Spontaneous combustion happens when people stack that much rotting garbage in one place. For the first time all day, I felt my shoulders relax. We spent the next few hours sitting on the floor, eating pizza, and watching Netflix on my laptop. Every few minutes, my phone lit up with another call from Jeremy or my mother. "Let me see that," Ivy said at one point, grabbing my phone. She glanced at the screen. Jeremy, calling again. "Wow," she said. "What is that, call number 50? "Something like that." "He's desperate," she said. "He knows he's about to lose the only thing he actually loves." "Me?" I asked. Ivy snorted. "No," she said. "Your credit score." We both laughed. It wasn't a happy laugh. It was sharp and jagged, but it felt good. Later that night, after Ivy left, the apartment felt quiet again. Peaceful. I opened my laptop one last time and logged into the email account I had used to send the message that morning. I expected hate mail, threats, maybe even a letter from Jeremy's lawyers. Instead, I found something else. Dozens of replies, messages from people I had known for years but never truly known. One was from a cousin I hadn't seen in over a decade. "Claire, I just saw the email. I'm so sorry. We always wondered why Rachel treated you like the help. We're proud of you." Another came from the wife of one of Jeremy's business partners. "Claire, please don't quote me, but thank you for saying it. We always knew something was wrong with the way he talked to you. You deserve better." Another message was from Pastor Williams. "Claire, the truth is a heavy burden, but it sets us free. I will be praying for your peace, and I will be having a serious conversation with your parents about their role in the congregation." I sat there reading those messages as tears ran down my face. For years, I believed I was invisible. I thought everyone had bought the happy family act. I thought I was the crazy one for feeling used. But they had seen it. They had seen everything. They just didn't know how to say it until I said it first. I closed the laptop. Then I looked at my phone. It was finally silent. No more calls, no more messages. They had stopped trying. They had realized the line was dead. I want to say something to you. To anyone sitting in the dark right now, staring at a phone and wondering if you should answer. There will be a moment when the silence becomes unbearable. You'll want to pick up. You'll want to explain yourself. You'll want to comfort the very people who hurt you because you've been trained to fix their pain. Don't do it. Don't pick up the phone. Let them sit in the wreckage they created. Let them feel the weight of their own choices. You can't teach someone a lesson if you keep protecting them from the consequences. I turned off the light. The room went dark. I lay down on the mattress in the corner of the beige apartment. For the first time in 10 years, I didn't set an alarm. I didn't need to wake up early to manage someone else's crisis. The crisis was over. And for the first time in a long time, so was I. My life was just beginning. People say the wheels of justice turn slowly. But if you grease them with a stack of forensic evidence and a federal inquiry, they can start moving with terrifying speed. The SEC didn't just open an investigation into Apex Global. They tore it apart. Within 48 hours of my email, federal agents were walking out of Apex Global's headquarters carrying boxes of hard drives and financial records. The image of Jeremy's meticulously curated office being dismantled was broadcast on every financial news channel in the country. I didn't watch it on television. I watched it from a witness room in the federal courthouse. Across the table sat the prosecutor, a sharp woman named Miss Vance. Beside me was Sienna Hollister, looking like a general who had already won the war and was simply overseeing the cleanup. "We need your statement regarding the signature," Miss Vance said, "and we need to understand the full extent of the asset misappropriation." So I told them everything. I told them about the draft horse text messages. I told them about the business trip to the Maldives. I told them about the years of financial gaslighting. But the real drama unfolded during the internal disciplinary hearing at Apex Global. A recording of that meeting was later subpoenaed and played during the proceedings. In the video, Jeremy looked nothing like the confident executive I had once married. His tan from the Maldives had faded into a sickly gray. He stood in front of his own partners, trying desperately to save himself. "This is all a misunderstanding," Jeremy pleaded on the screen, his hands trembling.